Hello, my love. How are
Hey.
you?
Are
Hey,
you talking to me? Are you talking to them?
I'm talking to you.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my God, I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here as well. I fell in love with you the moment I saw you on socials. I was like, who is this chick? I need to get in her world. I love her.
I felt the same way. And I was just telling you before we hit record, I was on a call with a client this morning and she was like asking me what I'm doing. And I said, I had this podcast guest. And I was like, I don't have a fucking clue who this person is. I don't know anything about this woman, but I found her on Instagram and I was like, her, that one. We'll be friends. And we dropped into voice notes immediately. And it was a hard yes right off the bat. Yes. Clare. Say it. Can you say it? Because it sounds better coming out of your mouth. Claire.
Claire.
Claire, where do you live?
I feel very British all of a sudden.
You are. Oh
So
my gosh.
I live in sunny England.
Oh, is it sunny? It looks
It's
sunny.
definitely not sunny. No,
Oh,
that's my big fat spotlight because it's dark and grey and gloomy.
okay. Oh my gosh. Tell let's oh, actually I gonna break my own rules here. I was just gonna get you to tell us about yourself. We'll do that in a hot minute. I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's coming. Tell me, my dear, what are you currently reclaiming in your
I am
life?
reclaiming my power.
Fuck yes. What is that? What is okay? What does that mean to you? Let's go into that.
Okay,
What does that
yeah.
mean?
What that means to me is I am no longer giving. I'm allowed to swear on here, aren't I?
Yes, go.
Like I'm no longer giving a fuck what anyone thinks or
Mhm,
says or cares to believe about me or what I do or what I say or how I say it or how I show up or any of that shit. Like I'm
mhm.
just so done with that and I am just so fully in my power. Since kind of the beginning of this year, I
Yeah.
really started owning it. And oh my God, it's just my world has just gone like insane. It's like it's so like magnetizing, isn't it, when you do that?
Yeah, and I feel the same. Like that's been a talking point and an intention of mine for a little while now, but there's something about this year. There's something
Mm,
really big about this year, and I'm seeing it with, I mean, a lot of my world is women, and so I'm really seeing it with women, but it's like, what is happening? I'm here for it,
yeah.
but there's something
It's the
happening.
8 year as well, isn't it?
It
I mean,
is.
I'm not like
Yeah.
massive in numerology, but I know it's the 8 year, and apparently that is
Yeah.
like all about the action and the
Uh-huh.
actual manifestation. Whereas last year was like sowing the seeds and kind of like
Yeah.
getting ready, and this year is like reap the rewards, baby.
Yes, I'm here for it.
Yeah, right.
Yay. Okay, well, I'm celebrating that for you. Hmm.
Thanks.
Okay, now because I know absolutely nothing about you other than I really adore you. And so
I love
tell
it. I'm here
me
for
and,
that.
and tell the people listening a little bit about who you are, what do you do, all the pieces, whatever you feel to share.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm Claire. Obviously, I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm a multi-passionate. I have several businesses. But really like my main focus, if you like, is my self-development business. I do speaking, I do mentorship, I do coaching, all the kind of good stuff that you would expect from someone like us. And I
Mhm.
really help women go from average to iconic. So we work
Oof.
through their identity, their branding, and their leadership, and we really elevate them into the position that they want to be established in. And I just love it. Like, this is my life's work. This is kind of like, for me, this is fun, right? This is just
Yeah,
absolutely living in my element and my purpose.
I love that. And so hmm, I want to word this in a much more exciting way than like, how did you get there? But like, what was the journey? I love people's stories. So like, I don't
Mm.
want to hear like,
Mine's
oh,
long
you know,
and it's
I've got an hour and a half.
you're like, yeah, how long have we got?
So, yeah, okay, maybe Cliff's notes it or tell the pieces that you feel to tell. But were you always like, was this always a thing for you? How did
Yeah,
it become
okay.
a thing for
So
you? Yeah.
the long story as short as I can do it, is basically like always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? So ever since I was a kid, I was like, I am not here for school. I'm not here for work. Like I just want to be my own boss. I knew that from a very young age, from like
Mhm.
trying to sell my brother's stuff in our front yard, right? I was just like,
Yes. Yes.
that was me. Selling cigarettes in the back of the school car park. Like, don't smoke, people. I don't smoke anymore.
Oh my God. I already have so much to say to this. Okay, keep going.
So anyway, so I left school like as soon as I could. I was like out of there. All my friends were like, let's go to college, let's go to, uni and that. And I'm like, hell no, like I am forging my own path.
Yeah.
That was the plan, right? And then kind of life threw me a curveball, as it likes to do. And I ended up in an abusive relationship at the age of 18 for 15 years.
Whew.
So my kind of life did not then go how I expected. So
Yeah.
during that 15 years, I had my eldest child very young. I had her at 19. And I kind of then was like in this weird place, right? Of like being a young mum, being an abused like wife, girlfriend, whatever.
Mhm.
And still being like really ambitious. Like I've always been really, really ambitious and had like massive dreams. And I was from like a tiny little seaside town in Devon
Yeah.
in England, like tiny, tiny little place, like where nothing happens. So it was like, how the fuck am I gonna make life happen, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, long story short, yeah, I ended up building like a career, like working like in employment, and just kind of
Mhm.
falling into things and just really like finding something that paid the bills and that didn't make me want to kill myself. So
Yeah.
I did that for about 4 or 5 years, got really good at it. And then someone who I was working with at the time said, I was talking to him about like wanted to do my own business and stuff. And he was like, why don't you do this? And I was just kind of like, hadn't even entered my mind. And so that for me was the first permission slip that I got to step into the entrepreneurial world.
Mhm.
Was not, a business of passion or of purpose. It was
Yeah.
me being able to be an entrepreneur, right? That's
Yeah.
what it was essentially. And I still have that business now. It's really successful.
Oh, wow.
But it's not my life's mission.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
just something cool that I like to dabble in because I have a team and stuff who do it. But yes, so did that was 10 years ago. Built that into like a market leading organization. It's corporate B2B, so it's very, very different to anything else that I do in any of my other businesses. And that really enabled me to then start finding who Claire was, right? So
Yeah.
for the first 6 years of that, I was still in this relationship and in this situation,
Yeah.
but I was starting to build monthly recurring revenue. I was starting to build independence outside of, kind of home life,
Yeah.
starting to really find who I was and my power. Finally ended up leaving when I was 33. So not,
Well
not
done.
too long ago, like, thank you.
Mhm.
About 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Really hard,
Yeah.
really hard. I'm very successful in my business life. My relationships, I still struggle,
Yeah.
being completely honest for anyone
Yeah.
listening, like you don't have to have every area of your life together.
No. No. Show us how. How do we do that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that is something that I still work on. But anyway, got out of there, had my spiritual awakening, started my second business in crystals, which was something I'd never even been in, didn't even know
Mhm.
what they were, right? Before all of that kind of happened.
Mhm.
Had a spiritual awakening, got really drawn to them. That was in second lockdown, 2020. And that business like blew the fuck up really, really quickly. Like multiple six figures in 18 months, went absolutely crazy.
Wow. Yes.
But and it was great because I then like got a really cool house and like we were going on holidays and I was like finally finding who I was as an individual
Mhm.
now out of that relationship. But I burnt the fuck out. I was
Yeah.
like doing everything, like
Yeah.
literally everything. And so I ended up burning it to the ground and I was like, I'm done, like get rid of this.
Mhm.
I can't do it anymore. So did that. And then I had like a year out basically of just like, what am I doing with my life? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? At that time, I was financially stable. I had, the money coming in from my corporate business. I could take time, there was a team running it. So I could just kind of spend time and figure my shit out. So I got into like high level coaching. I started doing courses, really dove. Is that a word?
I think,
Dive?
yeah, dove, dived. I
Dove?
dived. I
Doesn't
dove. You
sound right.
dove. You dove.
I
You dove.
dove. I dove into self-development. Started finding my purpose, and I was like, okay, I want to be a speaker. I want to share my story, and ultimately, I want to empower other women. That's what I
Mhm.
want to do. I want to empower other women to live their best life unapologetically, to start
Mhm.
finding who they are. And for me, I don't necessarily want to work with women coming out of traumatic relationships. I love
Mhm.
work. I love business, right? So for me, it was like, how can I do this in an entrepreneurial way?
Yeah.
And that then led me to mentorship and being a coach. And really, I'm really creative and I'm really disruptive and I'm really rebellious and all those kind of things. And I was like, do you know what? Like, I love creating and branding and content and messaging and kind of going against the norm and all of that stuff. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is the woman that I want to speak to. The woman
Mhm.
who's always been told she's too much, or,
Mhm.
she's like, her ego's too big and she's always got to be center of attention. Because that's always what I was told. And I'm
Right.
like, I want to tell her to fucking shine brighter, right?
Yeah.
To like get out there and do it even bigger, like piss off even more people, because that's how you're going to magnetize the people that love you more. So that was like a
Yeah.
really long version of a short story.
No, that was a great, you could have kept going. Hmm.
I know, yeah. I keep saying I'm going to write a book, but haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah, that seems to be a real popular thing right now. There's so many people in my life writing books,
Yeah,
and and I think there's so much. I mean, it does sound like you could write a novel
a
series, but
novel,
there's that like
three-part
what
series.
totally the next Harry Potter. Um, yeah, there's so much, what do I have to share? And nobody wants to hear my story. And it's not, my story wasn't that big of a deal. But when we start to really like tease it apart and look at all the finer details in it, we all have pretty epic stories to tell.
Oh my God,
Pretty
yeah.
epic stories to tell. I was in a mentorship recently, and the woman leading it, she's a really beautiful storyteller, like such a great
Mm.
storyteller. And someone even, I forget whatever the person said in the comments of this particular class, but it was like, I could listen to you storytell forever. Like, how do you become such a good storyteller? And how is your life like so full of these stories? And she said something along the lines of, like, I live my life thinking or hoping that this will be a story to tell one day. And so of the choices, like I could do choice A, which is to like stay and do what I've been doing, or I could do choice B, which is this like big step, scary, holy fuck, what's going to happen? And what's going to be the better story to tell? And I'm always going to choose the one that is going to give me a better story
Oh,
to
I
tell at the
love
end.
that.
Yeah, super fun.
I love that
When
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. When you were going through, I'm curious, when you were going through the transition of leaving that relationship, was there someone in your life that was empowering you, or where did that come from? Because that's a
No,
big leap.
I mean, kind of. So the only person I had was my best friend,
Mhm.
because like during that period, I had cut myself off, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't have friends, I didn't
Yeah.
have people that I could lean on, I didn't have a support network. And I also had like massive sister wounds, which is something that I literally have only just alchemized like last year. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, that's also been like a
Mm.
massive kind of thing for me.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I didn't have anyone other than my best friend, and ironically, or synchronicity, but we were both kind of going through a similar situation, and we both left kind of abusive or toxic relationships virtually at the same time, like within a couple months. And we
Yeah.
basically spent that whole year like healing together. Like we would go around to her house and literally sit and like binge like this tarot reader that we found online who did like astrology, tarot, and all this kind of stuff. And we
Uh-huh.
just like, tell us our future, like what's
Yes.
happening. And we just went on this like massive kind of healing journey together, and it was really beautiful. And she's kind of how I got into crystals, because she had crystals and I would see them
Okay.
in her house. Um, so yeah, but that's the only person I had.
Wow. Oh, I love that you had each other. That seems like a really
Yeah.
important medicine for both of you. Not
Yeah.
important, but also curious question. What's your favorite crystal?
Golden healer. And
Oh,
it's one that like a lot of people might not even know because
I
it's kind of,
don't.
it's kind of like not a, rose quartz or, like an
Right.
amethyst.
Yeah.
It's quartz basically with like hematoid inclusions in it, iron inclusions, but it was just like one of the first ones that I fell in love with, and it
Yeah.
really helped me kind of on my healing journey. So
Yeah.
I had honey calcite and I had fluorite, which I really kind of honed in on, and I
Hmm.
actually worked with like to help me kind of rebuild my confidence and my
Yeah.
self-worth and self-power and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Beautiful.
What's yours?
Oh gosh. Well, okay. So I'm always drawn to so many. The first thing that comes to my mind is amethyst, and I'm not sure if that's my answer or my mom's answer. So my mom passed when I
Oh,
was 20, and purple was always her color, and amethyst stone was always her jam, and
yeah.
turquoise, which is funny because turquoise is my second one. So
Oh,
it's like, is that actually my favorite, or is
yeah.
this just like a memory thing? But um, yeah, I think if I was to answer really honestly, I would say turquoise and amethyst.
Love that.
And yeah, I feel like I'm going to final answer it there because I'm just going to start to list like I love citrine and I love quartz and I love tourmaline. Like I love it all. I love amber. I don't even know if is that a crystal? Amber?
It's kind of, some people class it as and some people don't. So either or.
Yeah, so many. And I used to know so much about them too. I used to make I went through a phase when I was teaching yoga where I was making mala necklaces and working with a lot
Nice.
of really beautiful stones and making really
Mm.
beautiful pieces of jewelry. And so I actually I knew all the properties of all of these stones, and
Yeah.
I very much do not anymore. It's funny how, I mean, it's not that funny, but when it's like a language, you can speak a language and then not speak it for 10 years and you're like, I have no idea how to say
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
in that language.
And we don't need
Yeah.
to retain that information anymore, right? It's like
No.
make space
Yeah.
for the new.
You spoke about the sister wounds, and that has also been a conversation lately. And
Oh.
I'm curious if we can like tease that apart a little bit.
Mm.
This is something that I think that I didn't have. I don't have that. I'm better than that. But truth be told, guess what? I totally had it. and it's only through really rich relationships with women in my recent years
Yeah.
that I'm realizing, holy shit, there's some stuff here.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
so I don't know where that isn't a question, but it's like an opening. Like, can
No,
we can
yeah, I feel you. And so for me, I only kind of um found out about this,
Mhm.
let's say, like maybe about a year ago,
Yeah.
like properly kind of like, okay, I think this is what's going on.
Yeah.
So just to give a bit of backstory, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of people will probably resonate with this. When I was like a teenager and young woman, I was always very jealous of women in general.
Same.
Like
Yeah.
it was always like, she's prettier than me, she's
Yeah.
got her shit more together than me. Like very, very, very. Oh, I love your tattoo.
Oh, I know. I was actually looking at both of ours. I'm like, we have very similar happenings here on our
Not
left
the nails
arms.
though. Mine are really bad today.
No.
But
These are
yeah. So I
fresh.
always, I always had that jealousy, and even as like a schoolgirl, I had
Mhm.
like a circle of girlfriends who were like our
Mhm.
little group, and even then I always felt like the odd one out. It was always very much like, how it's very cliquey when you're kind of that
Mhm.
age, and I
Mhm.
always just felt like the odd the oddball. It was like I just didn't
Yeah.
quite fit in, and I never felt quite good enough, and I always felt second best. And I remember, like, I have this one memory of, I had like this best friend, and she used to be really mean to me, like really mean to me. And I remember writing her a letter like in class being like, you're meant to be my best friend, and like
Oh.
just really mean to me, like why?
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, well, I just thought it was a thing because that's kind of what everyone does. And like, so it started even like at that age. And I've
Yeah.
just always had those traumas of what, sorry, 2 secs.
This is perfect. Aw.
Pardon? One more and then sleep, okay? Yeah. Can I watch one more? Go on then.
Oh, is that
Real
your
life kind of
youngest?
stuff.
I
That's
love
my
this.
youngest, yeah.
I am not even editing that out. That's perfect.
Oh.
That gets to stay. Speaking of sister wounds, she is welcome here.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember like it just always feeling like that, always feeling like women just didn't, or girls, you know, whatever, just didn't have my back. It was like I
Yeah.
was just never good enough. And so that just carried on like all my life until a point where kind of early adulthood, I just put my walls up, right? I was
Yeah.
just like, I just don't trust any girls. I just can't let them in because they don't seem to care about me, or, you know,
Yeah.
they want to steal my boyfriend, or, you know, all of this kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's hence why I had no friends. Um, until I met my best friend, like now, about, well, when my youngest was born, actually, we met in a baby group. Her son is like 2 months older than my daughter, so they're like best friends.
I love that.
So I met her there, and it's a really funny story because we always laugh about it. She always says I like really intimidated her because at the time I was like this corporate woman, right? And I would walk around, I swear, like with my little headset on, pushing the pram, like in my suit and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
boss vibes, right? And I would
Yeah.
go to this baby club with like all these kind of, you know, like I don't want to stereotype, but like kind of like very maternal women, and I'm just there
Yeah.
like very businessy.
Yeah.
And so she was like, yeah, you really intimidated me. And she's the kind of person that I would have never normally spoken to either. And
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, I was just like, started talking to her. I was like, hey, you know, do you want to be friends kind of thing? And we just clicked straight away. And she was really the opening to me opening up again. But that's been a very long journey.
Mm-hmm.
Even in our early friendship, like she had another best friend, and I used to get so jealous about it. I would be like,
Right.
why have you got another best friend? Like,
Oh, yeah.
what about me? Like,
Yeah.
it was really like, I mean, I look back and obviously it's not healthy, but that is how I felt. And I want to be
Yeah.
really honest about this because I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
women feel shame around it.
Yeah.
And I did, right? I felt
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
for being like that, but that didn't stop me feeling like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's only been this last year really that I've been able to really start digging into it and understanding the root of it. And I did a lot of kind of inner child stuff
Mm-hmm.
around it, a lot of hypnosis, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
crying, you know, a lot of
Uh-huh.
purging, all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And then what I found, and I don't know if you found this as well, but the more I elevated the spaces that I was in, the less the less toxicity, right?
Yeah.
Like the less women are like that. Whereas
Yeah.
I always kind of found myself in these circles where that was like a normal thing. And
Mm-hmm.
now the circles that I'm in, it doesn't even get spoken about, you know? It's like
Yeah.
something that I live by now is collaboration over competition, because that's
Yeah.
been my alchemy of what
Yeah.
I've been through.
Yeah. And I think that when we place ourselves in spaces, sitting at tables and groups that are, how do I word this? Vibrating at a really high frequency and
Yeah.
here for the expansion and here for the bigness and here for the disruption and here for the like, let's do this big. It takes a very particular type of woman to land in those places to be like, hey, I am going to shine bright. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to show up. It takes a woman who feels really connected to herself, confident in herself, knows who she is. And when a woman or a girl, and I'm not sure if we even know this until we're women, know that when we're like, ooh, when we've reclaimed that sense of self, it isn't even until then, I think, truly that we can have these deep, rich relationships with other women because
Mm.
when we're not in that self connection, we're in this external validation seeking, we're in we're in that competition vibe, like,
Yeah,
because we don't know where we even stand in this
yeah,
world. And so it's interesting to me um, that you found yourself in an industry where your role was to uplift and inspire and expand women
I
before
know.
you even had the presence of
I
awareness of like, I've got
know.
this wound. That's so interesting.
You know what's
Yeah,
really funny though is if I can touch on it, is so when I
always.
had my crystal business like the first time round, because I'm in
Yeah.
like the second time round of it now. Um yeah, it's so interesting what happened with that, because at that time I wasn't really aware of this. Like I knew that I was a jealous person and all this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
my identity back then was very different to who I am now, and I
Yeah.
was still very much in that mentality.
Yeah.
And I interestingly started a membership at one point called Rock Club, right? And it was, I wanted, consciously, I wanted friends. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted people around me. But
Mm-hmm.
because I had not healed my sister wound and my feelings around women in general,
Yeah.
although I like wanted them as friends, you know, there was like subconscious stuff going on there. And
Oh
so
yeah.
the people that I attracted were the same as me. And
Right.
it was I'm trying to word this. I like it was not it was not successful, let's say. I mean, it actually was very successful in that I had like 55 people in the launch without even doing like a big hype. Like everyone wanted to be part of it that was in my world, but it was a very low vibration
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And honestly, like my mental health through that kind of 6 months of having that went boom, it
Yeah.
was really bad, really bad.
Yeah.
And so I burnt that to the ground as well.
I love this. Speaking of burning things to the ground, my mic just fell off the table.
I'm
So
just looking at you
you're
like
like, what is she doing? I'm like, now I'm like performing. It's like I have a standalone mic where I'm gonna have to
spotlight's
use a
yours,
video
baby.
just for this. I don't really know what's happening here. Um, I love that you're just burning things to the ground. Like that takes so much trust to
Mm.
know that everything's gonna be okay. And so, like, where does that come in for you? Like, where did the courage come to burn everything to the ground
You know, I
multiple
don't
times?
I don't know where it came from. I think I was just born with it, because I've always just been very headstrong and very much like, and I actually did a post about this earlier. Like I've never had a plan B. I've never had a plan B. Like people around you always say, you know, the one like my parents tell me all the time is like, have you got a pension? Well, I fucked all a pension. Like, if I want a pension, what does that say about my self-belief of where
Right.
I'm going in the world? Like,
Yeah.
I find that very counterintuitive for me, but a lot of
Yeah.
people see that as sensible.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, so for
Yeah.
me, I'm just like, you know, whether it's delusional or, you know, whatever, but I'm just so, I'm going to say delusional. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
delusional in my success and the life that I'm creating and the movement that I'm here to build. Like, failure is not an option. So I
Yeah.
know that every, you know, failure I have, or every fuck up, or every detour, or whatever, just needs to get out the way quickly so I can get back on the right track. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I talked about this, I don't know, somewhere recently, and it was like, failure is the one inevitability, right? We're
Hmm.
always going to have, you know, failed launches or failed ventures or failed whatever.
Hmm.
But it's the person who sees that as the lesson and learns quickly and then pivots, or, you know, starts something different quickly and then keeps taking action and doesn't let it kind of knock their confidence or knock their belief
Hmm.
in what they're here to do. And yeah, that's just me. I'm just like, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind of where I'm going, and so it doesn't really matter kind of what
Hmm.
happens along the way, because I just know that everything is always happening for me and not to me.
Yeah. God, I love that. And I love also that I'm like having this vision of you as a little girl that, because it seems as though you've just always trusted, you've always known this. It's just been like
Oh
a
yeah,
non-question,
yeah,
which I think is so cool. And I'm literally envisioning you as this like feisty little girl. And yeah, kind of like running the show when you say you're trying to sell your brother
You know
things in the
what's
yard.
funny though is,
What?
so when I was bullied really badly when I
Okay.
was little.
Hmm.
Um, so primary school, I had eczema. Like, I don't
Yep.
know if you, yeah, and
Yep.
I had it like so bad all around my lips, right? It
Oh,
was like,
wow.
yeah, and I used to get called clown face because it was
Oh,
like, like a like
yep.
clowns. And at that time, hydrocortisone wasn't a thing, right? So like
Yeah.
there was like not really anything that was kind of fixing it. And
Yeah.
so I spent my primary school years, I don't know what you guys call it in the States, but like up to like kind of age 10, being really, really bullied. And it was really fun, not funny, but in school, I would, I mean, I don't have much memories of it because I kind of blocked a lot of it out,
Yeah.
but I was just very lonely and wanted to be liked and wanted to fit in, but
Yeah.
didn't. And I was
Yeah.
just always, again, like the oddball. And
Yeah.
so it's really interesting because we then moved towns at the end of primary school, and I started a new school in a new place where no one knew me.
Hmm.
And another funny story is I used to get really bullied for my name because my full name is Marie Claire. And so,
Oh,
you know what kids are like? They were like, oh, why don't you go and marry Claire? It's like,
oh my
which
gosh. Yeah.
I know, so silly. But like for me as a kind of little child, like I can't even tell you the anxiety that I used to get, like in the
Hmm.
register. Like
Hmm.
when I would literally sit like this waiting for my name because I knew that there would be heckles and there would be
Oh.
comments. It was awful. It was really awful. And so anyway, started this new school, and I kind of, I don't know why, but I made this decision. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't want to be this victim anymore. And so I really became someone different, and I changed my name. I like started going by Claire,
Hmm.
and I don't really know what happened. I just kind of found this inner confidence and this, like this girl that was always wanting to come out but felt like she couldn't because of the
Hmm.
bullies.
Hmm.
And I just brought her into this new school, and I
Hmm.
owned that, and I owned that confidence. And I was always like the naughty one and the kind of ringleader and stuff, but I was me, and I was in my power as much as
Yeah.
possible. I mean, I still had moments because the name thing kind of continued all through school. But other than that, I was very much a different person. And so, yeah, this confidence and this courage and this bravery really was born from a place of being a victim and
Hmm.
feeling kind of not in my power, and
Hmm.
lost
Hmm.
and vulnerable, and then reclaiming that back
Hmm.
when the opportunity kind of arose. And I guess you could say the same in my adult life, right? Through that
Yeah.
relationship, and
Yeah.
the same story panned out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, of course, you're teaching women how to like stand up and shift things up and shake things up. This has been in you your whole life. Is there like a most common when you're working with women? What do you hear most often is the thing that's holding people back from stepping into their goals?
Fear of judgment, always.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Always. And it's kind of so sad because at the end of the day, and I know everyone says this, but it's just so true, like we go to bed with ourselves. It's
Mhm.
us in our heads. It's us at the end of the road when we look back on our lives. Like we're
Yeah.
the only ones that have to live with our decisions. It
Hmm.
really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks because everyone's so absorbed in their own shit anyway that
Totally.
everyone's perceptions are skewed to their own stories and their own journeys and all the
Hmm.
crap that they've been through. So
Hmm.
it's really, again, tapping into that. And I really like to work with people who resonate with the kind of too much energy. That's like kind of one of my
Hmm.
play on things.
Hmm.
um and so I really resonate with those women because they've just always simmered it down.
Yeah.
Like they all, like I tell them, I can look at your content, I can look at your socials, and I can tell you how much in your power you are. Like whether you are bringing it or
Yeah.
like it's just there. It's like it's bubbling. There was someone's post I
Hmm.
saw earlier, and she's like, "This fucking kick ass," and I'm like, you're like 80% there. Like, it's not like there's more. Give me more. Like, step
Yeah.
into it. But it's that fear of judgment. And we just have, no one can kind of coax that out of you. You have to
Hmm.
tap into your why, essentially,
Hmm.
right? And you have
Hmm.
to say, is this strong enough for me to not care about anyone else? Like,
Yeah.
is this mission important enough to me to
Yeah.
go against the norm and to stand out from the masses and be one of the few and have the spotlight on me because that's
Hmm.
what I desire? But
Yeah.
that obviously with more uh not popularity, but with more visibility, thank you,
Hmm.
with more
Hmm.
visibility comes, more of the opposite, right? More of the
Yeah.
naysayers, more of the hate, more of the trolling, because that's just the law of polarity. And so
Hmm.
you have to really ask yourself, is this important enough to me that I
Hmm.
can kind of ignore all of that noise because I'm
Yeah.
so focused on this vision?
Yeah. Yeah. There's two things coming to me when you're speaking, and one is the Brene Brown quote, and not sure I know it exactly right, but anyone listening who knows Brene Brown will know the quote. But it's that whole idea of us as the person of focus, let's say as the online business entrepreneur, and we're in the arena. We're down in the arena. We're in the dirt. We're doing the thing. And then you've got all these people watching. But all
Mm,
these nosebleeders up there, they're just down, looking down their nose, watching.
yeah.
And like, unless you're in the arena with me, like, I don't give a shit what you have to say. Like, get
Yes.
down here and try this. Come on
Yeah.
down and try this. Pay my bills,
Yeah.
fill my fridge. Like, get down here. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
No,
And it's
don't want to
also
give it a
like,
shot.
how
Okay.
many times do those people in the arena get knocked out, right? Like,
Totally.
we have to take it and we have to take it in front of people. Like, we
Yeah.
have to like fall down in front of everyone watching and
Yeah.
get back up because we want that belt, right? Or we want that prize
Yep.
or whatever it is. And
Yep.
yeah, like again, it goes back to that why. Like, if you don't want that belt or that prize or that status, theoretically talking, like
Yeah. Yeah.
then you're not going to take those punches. You're going to avoid them as much as you can.
Hmm. Yeah. And that whole piece, like that woman that you're like, you're at 80%. And I'm not saying that this woman was doing that at all, but we have, I think now with social media, my gosh, we all have access to all of the people we can compare ourselves to
Oh
and
yeah.
all of the people we would like to be like.
Mm.
And when we're so busy we're like dissecting someone's account. Okay, I'm going to be more like them. I'm going to post like them. I'm going to make reels like them. I'm going to write
Yeah.
posts like them. I'm going to be more like them. Well, that is you dimming the shit out of your light.
Yes.
It's also you disempowering yourself. It's also you like getting further and further and further and further away from your actual message and mission. And the
Yes.
world doesn't need another one of them. Even if they're crazy successful and doing really good in the
Yeah.
world, great. Let them do that and then bring your magic the way you bring your magic because that is what the world is needing right now. But we get so, I say we as a collective,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so roped into this comparison, and because someone's looks like they're doing really well and they're successful and we want to be doing really well and be successful, well then we should probably do it like them, and that is just
Yes.
absolutely not what we should be doing. So of
Oh my
course
God.
she
Yeah.
wasn't at 100% because maybe she was trying to be like someone else,
Yeah,
and so she wouldn't
that's
even
what
know how to
everyone's
access.
doing. Yeah, and
Mhm.
it drives me crazy how many people I'm seeing. Like, they're saying the same fucking things.
Yeah.
Like everyone is saying, how to make 10K a month, how to make 20K a month. Like, no one gives a fuck. Like, yes, I know that you think that everyone wants money because obviously we all live in a 3D world and money is great. And obviously I created the millionaire movement because I want to empower women to
Yeah.
have money and feel worthy of wealth. But the money can't be the why. Like, the money is
No.
the byproduct. So
Yeah.
start talking to the why. Like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you actually helping someone do and why do they want it? Not the
Yeah.
money. That's like, for me, that's a given.
Yeah.
So, like, if you
Yeah.
take money out of the equation, then what have you got to say? Because if you've
Yeah.
got nothing to say because all you're talking about is the money, you're in the wrong fucking business.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh. And that thing too, like if what you're doing is all about the money, you're going to eventually, let's say you eventually reach this amount of money. Guess what? All your shit's still here. Nothing actually changed. Nothing
Yeah,
actually has changed. You're still the same human with the same worry and the same concern and the same fear and all the same stuff. And so then what are you going to do? Then what are you
yeah,
doing? More money?
yeah,
Okay, okay, here we go again. Let's do it again. And I love money. Bring on the money from a really, from a centered place. More, more money in the hands of incredible humans is the greatest gift this world can receive. So
absolutely.
yes to that. And I love, yeah, like what's the why? What is the purpose?
Yeah, yeah. And
And
this is
would you,
like, no, go on.
I was just going to ask, like, would you, and this is for anyone listening, if money wasn't an issue, you had more money than you even knew what to do with, would you still do the work that you do for free because you're so passionate
Exactly.
about it? And if you
Yeah,
wouldn't, that's something to look at. I think that's
yeah.
something to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just to backtrack a bit, like when you were saying about everyone getting kind of God, where have my words gone? Distracted, right?
Yeah.
Distracted by what everyone else is doing. And I did this. So I just want to
Oh,
say
me
to everyone
too.
listening, like, yeah, I was 100% where you are. And
Same.
this is why I started a whole new account this year, because I look back at my old account and it makes me wince because like I look at it and you can see the effort, you can see the kind of trying. And this is why I love doing what I do now, because I've lived it. I don't ever teach anything that I haven't experienced and been through myself and
Mm-hmm.
mastered along the way. And
Yeah.
so I look back and I can just see like, oh yeah, you were obviously watching someone there and you were watching someone there and you were
Uh-huh.
sidetracked there. And we all do it, right? We all
Mm-hmm.
do it. But the real mastery is putting your blinders on. It
Yeah.
really is. Because all that's happening is we're trying to find a quick fix.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to find the secret, and no one has the secret. The only secret they have is that they've embodied their power. That
Yeah.
is the secret. But we misinterpret that as their strategy is the answer. And that's not the answer. That's just come to them through the embodiment. And so if we
Mm-hmm.
actually kind of take it back a step and say, okay, they're doing this because they're in their power, they're in their authenticity, they're in their leadership, they're in their authority, that is the secret. It's not what
Mm-hmm.
that's producing. And this is
Mm-hmm.
the bit that we kind of get lost in. We're trying to replicate the wrong thing in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what we need to be not even replicating, but what we need to be realizing is it's us that is the missing piece.
Yes. Yes. I say that. I say that so often. It's like, and I'm with you. Wow, did I do that? And maybe still do sometimes. I can probably
Yeah,
catch myself still
it's
in that
hard.
for sure. But
Yeah.
that external seeking, that like and I don't know what it's like where you are, but North America is in a busy hustle bustle, go, 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 work as hard as you can, no sleep, eat shit food, drink a lot, no tons of stress.
I'm in
And
London, same, yeah.
yeah, so we're in this constant state of external being.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense to me that a lot of people are disconnected from what their actual message is and how they share it because we're so overstimulated with gosh, everything, like everything, traffic running by, busy cities, it's your social media, your computer, your all, like all the sounds, all the things. We're so, and if, and I work in the world of somatics and embodiment and coming back to the self and breath work. And if it wasn't for those tools, I would be like a spinning top. I would be just
Yeah, yeah.
totally spinning and I wouldn't know what my mission was. I wouldn't know what my message was. I wouldn't know what my why was. And the only way I found it was by getting present and still and with myself and coming back to that learning, who actually am I? What do I stand for? What do I believe in? What is a hell yes? What is a hell no? Who do I want to help? Why do I want to help? And it only comes from taking just a hot minute and being with yourself and checking in. And so for anyone listening who finds themselves in these conversations, like I really urge you to just slow down,
Yes.
turn everything off, be with yourself, come in, be with your breath, be with your body, be with spirit, be here because
Mhm.
your answer is right there. Your
Yeah.
message is right there. All of it's right there.
It's the instant gratification that we all want,
Yeah.
right? It's the quick dopamine hit. It's the notifications on the phone
Yes.
constantly, and it's,
Yeah.
it captivates us, and it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
remove yourself from that. Like, one of the hardest things that I not had to do, but that I learned to do, and this sounds really like silly, but it was not going on my phone as soon as I woke up.
Right. Yeah.
That was so hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually crazy how hard it was, because it makes you realize just how freaking addictive it is.
Yeah.
But oh my God, the difference in my mental clarity through the day, and
Mm-hmm.
also what my brain was searching for, because I found out obviously later down the line that whatever you fill like your brain with in the first 30 minutes is what it will search for the rest of the day. And so
Okay.
when I was
Right.
doing that, I would then be literally glued to my phone, like check Instagram, check my likes, check my followers, check my DMs, check my emails, anything that I could. It's like, give me that hit, give me the hit. Oh, there's a like, oh, there's a comment. And it's like
Yeah.
you're constant. No, it's freaking crazy, really, when you like think about it. But
Truly.
when I stopped that, oh, it was like a weight. Obviously, you kind of have to
Mm-hmm.
go through a period of like withdrawal. Like, it's like, give me the phone, give me the phone. It's like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's like, it is hard, but 30 days and you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me was a big game changer.
Yeah.
Because I was very scatty. I mean, I'm still a little bit woo, but I was very scatty, very overstimulated. Could not ever be in the present moment. Like,
Yeah.
always forward thinking,
Yeah.
always forward worrying, never enough time, always in a rush, all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
so removing my phone from the first 30 minutes, meditation, hypnosis, obviously crystals, were like some of the biggest tools that helped me
Yeah.
find my power, reclaim my power, and
There she
find my
is.
grounding. Like,
Yeah.
grounding was a really big thing for me, which is ironic because I'm a Virgo, but it was, yeah, that was it. I don't know why I went onto that tangent, but there we go.
I love a good tangent. I am like queen of tangent digressing. On one hand, I'm like, you should probably do some speaking training and like get yourself together and not go
Yes.
on tangents. But no, I go on tangents.
Well, I
And
did that
that's
and I still do it. So
okay, perfect. I'm not even gonna waste my time and money. I'm just gonna it's fine. Tangents are welcome. My my struggle is like, can I bring myself back and remember
yeah.
where I started? That's usually my big struggle piece. But whoo, I love this. I'm looking at the clock. Okay, I'm gonna honor some time. I could talk to you forever and ever,
I know, it's so good.
which is great, which we will, because I'm coming on your podcast soon. And so we'll just get to carry this
Round
on. Oh
two.
my gosh.
Ding ding ding.
Round two. Let's go. I know that we're by the time we're recording versus the time we're sharing this, we're not
Yes.
quite sure because there's a little bit of time in between as to what's going on. But tell us a little bit, maybe in detail, about how you work with clients. And then, once we come up to sharing this episode, I'll put all of your beautiful links in. But yeah, what's it like to work with you? What kind of stuff do you offer?
Yeah, so who knows when you
Who
when you're
knows?
listening to this, but at the moment,
I
I
think
have a
it's June.
mastermind. Okay. So probably, let's say, but things change very quickly in my world.
They do.
So probably my mastermind will be
Yeah.
maybe on its second cohort.
Okay.
I started that earlier this year, the Elevate Mastermind.
Nice.
At the moment, I've got plans to kind of mix it up a little bit, and I think,
Mhm.
but again, who knows? I
Yep.
think I'm going to position it at six-figure leaders, because just very
Hmm.
different vibration that comes in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might be something that's out there. You'll just have to look and see.
Okay.
Otherwise, I just always say, like, come into my world and let's chat, right? Because
Hmm.
I don't really have like set in stone things. I'm just like,
Mm.
let's see where you want to go, what you want to do,
Yeah.
if I'm the right fit for you. And if I
Yeah.
am, then we'll figure something out. But I'm not like a strategy person, really. I'm very kind of in my feminine a lot, and I just
Mm-hmm.
go with the flow. Not, I am in my masculine when I need to be, but yeah, I'm very much like, what do you need? Can I
Yeah.
help you?
Yeah.
If it's a fit, then let's talk.
Yeah. Perfect. I love that. I really love that because in a world where everyone's like, you have to have offers, you have to have lots of offers, you have to have blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're like, come on
I
in, we'll figure it
actually
out.
really despise making courses. I've made some in the past and it drains the life out of me.
Yeah.
And I say that I could have one out by the time you're listening to this. Who knows? But I'm not
That
made
you
to sit
loved
behind a
creating.
computer for hours and
Yeah.
hours, like talk it like so at the moment in March, I'm about to release a 3-day masterclass, which is really
Okay.
cool, which is all about going from average to iconic
I
and
love
really
it.
like, yeah, switching up your messaging, going from bland and boring to like freaking visionary and elevated. So that
Yeah.
I'm really excited about because I get to talk. And this is what I love
Yeah.
doing ultimately.
Yeah.
Like I'm a speaker really at my core.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, who knows? Just come into my world and see what's going
Yeah.
on.
And so where would we find you? What world would you like us to come into?
Come into the Instagram. So at
Hmm.
Clare Garner Official. That is
Beautiful.
definitely your one-stop shop.
I love it. I love a good one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear, I think we're gonna seal it with a bow and yay, connect again really, really soon. And what else do I feel to say? I don't know if I feel to say anything else. Anything that you're offering come the time of launch, we'll pop it in. I hope the world finds you. Those who haven't already found you, just think you're just the greatest. The greatest.
Oh, thank you so much, babe.
Yeah.
This is so much fun.
It was so much fun. And we'll talk soon.
See you soon.
Bye, babe.